Knights, behold. My gear is red now. Guys, we just recently got a huge patch for DFO, involving a brand new continent named Seon with new dungeons and content to do. Now, oddly enough, this didn't come with a character level cap increase, but instead, it sort of acts as a soft reset with a gear level cap increase instead. Before this patch, we had level 105 epic gear with option levels that went up to level 80, but with materials earned in the new continent, you can upgrade that same gear to level 110 with an additional 40 option levels to strive for. These core changes will be the focus of this video, but of course, the patch came along with it a hell of a lot of other changes as well, including but not limited to the deletion of play points, an absolutely terrible looking new upscaled font, luckily this is optional, class rebalancing, Joe Ferrero's weekly dungeons have been updated and they are freaking worth it now, the male slayer finally getting a new sprite that has a neck now, new collection systems and emotes for achieving them, and updated items in NPC shops, and of course so much more. But check the details of the patch notes in the description below. And without further ado, let's go. Now, I know that I've been very lax with the content on the channel. I don't stream DFO all the time, but I certainly have been keeping up to date with all of my characters. My EK and Paladin are no slouches at least, and I'm still doing content on the others in the background. I am not completely lost, so let me explain what's going on with this new gear level cap. First off, everything that you did previously to get to high level fame is the same, but massively improved. You'll notice that content like Ispins, Hall of Dimension, and Bakal Raid are now dropping much higher fame items, making the grind to level 80 option levels much easier. On top of this, the price for increasing option levels via fusion is cheaper, and you might notice that there is now only one combined total option level instead of 4 individual ones. Combine this with the fact that all of the fusions are considered complete fusions without paying the extra amount of resources for it, and it makes for a much more manageable path towards increasing your fame. This old content is still required, as it serves as your window to high fame gear and upgrade resources, but Seon has introduced a few other more relevant content as well. Once a level 105 epic gear is capped out at 80 option levels, you now have the ability to upgrade that epic into a Seon epic and get the red border at the cost of a mere 75 pale miss. Once you do this, it effectively resets the option levels back to 1, and your new goal is to get up to level 40 option levels on this new gear by feeding high fame gear into it, the same as before. On top of these new red epics simply having higher damage options, the second reason that you'll want to get high Seon option levels is because of the equipment trait system. This system is effectively just a trait point that your character has as a permanent buff. In order to get more points, you'll need to get exceedingly higher levels of Seon gear across your character. This system requires a hefty amount of pale miss, so I recommend only looking at this only after you've converted all of your epics to the Seon version. I've mentioned pale miss a few times now, but that begs the question, just how do you get them? You can get pale miss from doing Seon dailies, defeating the final boss of the normal dungeons, and even running this cap's version of Hell mode. However, the primary source of pale miss will come from the weekly dungeon named the White Cloud Valley. It's not that hard and pretty self-explanatory with the gimmicks, and has 2 entries per week that can be run back to back if you want. The minimum gear score required to enter is only 36k, and I highly suggest that you start farming this as soon as possible so that you can start stockpiling the all-important pale mists. Now, I've mentioned this cap's version of Hell mode, which is a semi-return to form for us veterans more familiar with the level caps previous to level 110 cap. It is a very short dungeon called the Mediator of Balance that has a heightened chance of dropping high fame epics. The entry cost is Mist Core, an item you again can farm doing the Seon dailies and defeating the bosses of normal dungeons. Or alternatively, you can trade in your old Ryan cores, renamed to the Layern core for some reason, at a rate of 10-1. The epics that come from this Hell mode dungeon are only ever going to be weapons or custom epics, which, if you didn't know already, is the theme of the endgame in DFO currently, but especially so in this update. Custom epics have 4 random options that are determined by their slot and type. Those options, if you can get 3 or 4 usable ones, will often beat out any of the standard fixed effect epics with few exceptions. The end goal is to have a primary epic piece, what DFO refers to as a combination epic, and in most cases it's a bracelet that dictates your entire build, and then you get customs to synergize with that build. It is far too complicated to explain what to shoot for, but there is an extremely useful document document made by Fort and Secrena that can help you in determining what options you should aim for depending on your combination. Check out the description below and shout it to them, because without this, I think we as a community would be totally lost, as there is a lot of new updated options and a lot of potential to be led astray. Overall, I've replaced many of my old epics with customs, and I'm seeing an immediate damage increase even without being optimized in those options yet. So much of the content in this game now, like the aforementioned advanced dungeons, will reward you with reroll cubes for customs. This is to facilitate an easier time trying to get the options that you want. I recommend checking out all of the old NPCs for any new items that they may offer, but of particular note, you can get reroll cubes from all of the advanced dungeon tokens. I haven't ran it yet myself, but the Solidaris dungeon, the other advanced Seon dungeon, is also designed for optimizing your customs by giving you a ton of reroll cubes. However, people really only suggest doing this dungeon after you have very high fame. And since you share the two entries of this dungeon with the White Cloud Valley, you have to choose which of the two to enter every week. Early on in this new continent, the Pale Mists are more important, but eventually you'll want to focus on optimizing your customs. One thing that is more of a convenience feature is that if you were to disassemble any custom gear, not only do you get the standard Epic Soul, but the 4 options on it will be added to your custom book. A new collection system that effectively stores custom options for later use in a neat little UI. When exchanging one of your options onto a custom gear, you can choose to extract it from an epic or choose that option out of your book. And well, I mean, if you have the option, logic will dictate that you should always disassemble that custom and take it from the book. A neat feature to be sure, especially to get rid of the clutter, but do remember that if you do this, you lose the ability to transcend an epic to another character on your account. Where this feature is going to be a game changer, however, is when we talk about the highest tier of gear available, Mist Gears. Mist Gears are an extremely rare custom epic drop. Think Mythics from the previous cap. They got this crazy extravagant blue shine when it drops. However, for all intents and purposes, Mist Gear is just the same as any other custom, except that it allows you to select all 4 options to be whatever you want them to be within that gear's drop pool. On top of this, all Mistcore epics have an additional set effect at 2 and 4 Mist Gear pieces. Even if you don't get the Mist Gear piece that you want, you can always disassemble it for a Mist Gear part, which you can use to infuse with an existing custom epic to change it into a pure Mist Gear in order to get the Mist Gear set effect. You'd of course do this if you already had a 4 out of 4 custom epic that you like. In that sense, your goal is to get at least 4 Mist Gears on your character. And since the Mist Gear part is account bound after disassembling a Mist Gear, you can actually farm for them across your whole account and funnel the Mist Gear part to your main. Mist Gears can only be obtained very rarely from the new Hell mode or the aforementioned White Cloud Valley and Solidaris dungeons. But one ditto version can be farmed called the Refined Mist Gear that allows you to choose any Mist Gear epic that you want. This entire system is of course the dopamine carrot that we've all been asking for with this level cap, but like Mythics of the previous cap, they are exceedingly rare and you shouldn't be picky about when or where you get them. At least there is a dedicated pity system built into the Hell mode that gives us a guaranteed Mist Gear after thousands of attempts. And that, my friends, covers the meat and potatoes of this patch. There is a hell of a lot of other stuff that really should be covered, but as I'm recording this, it's already long enough. We've got a new Arid Season Pass, which is offering a lot of the same rewards as the previous one. Surprisingly, they didn't offer to sell a new package yet with this new continent release. I don't know why. However, there is a new event that focuses around gearing a male Slayer with a full epic set and about 30k fame right off the bat. You also have the option to do this for any character on your account, assuming that their fame is below 40k. So 2 characters can get ready to start gearing in 110 content for free, which is pretty neat. We also have this Shreddlefits NPC with a cauldron. He is selling some semi-useful things for Abyss batteries. If you have any of the old materials like red dust, you could trade them in for Abyss battery pouches up to 10 times a day. I recommend getting and stockpiling the talisman readjusters, or you could actually look at the Mystical Grimoire NPC and check out some of the card albums, which can also be purchased a couple times a week with the batteries. Don't forget to go to Ludmilla and Syria's room 2 times a week in order to get up to 20 reroll cubes. For any of the rest of this patch, guys, I suggest either meeting me on the stream or even better yet, checking out the changes yourself in game. There's a hell of a lot to do, at least early on in this new cap before everything becomes routine again. I, for instance, have been playing and streaming almost this entire week, and I hope you guys do the same. But anyway, guys, Knights, begone. Alright, For those of you knights who stuck it to the end, I got a pretty neat strategy for farming mist gear in as little time as possible. Keep in mind that this works better the more high fame alts that you got. What you want to do is sign in every day onto a character and pick up your free Mediator of Balance ticket. You then want to change all of your daily quests such that you can complete them all within 2 runs of the Mediator of Balance. If you do that, you will be rewarded with mist cores that will replenish the cores that you used for that second run. Effectively, you've got 2 free runs a day per character on your account. And that adds up to a lot of free runs if you do it every day. Okay, that's all. But gone for real now.